My nephew was backed up worse than a drain clogged with hair. And my psycho sister-in-law, Brenda, insisted that the only cure was shoving live swamp eels up his butt. In my last life, I told her she was insane. I warned her the eels would bore through his guts and cause massive internal bleeding. She listened. Took him to a doctor and he got surgery. But when his constipation came back, she blamed me for wasting money and brainwashed her brat into poisoning my dinner with rat poison. I died foaming at the mouth. But when I opened my eyes, I was back in that bathroom staring at Brenda holding a slippery, wriggling eel. This time I started clapping. Damn, Brenda. That's genius. Let's lube that sucker up and get it in there. Mama, my tummy hurts. I can't push it out. Tyler's whining voice echoed through the bathroom door. I blinked. Dazed. I looked down at my hand. I was gripping a cheap drugstore enema bottle. Realization hit me like a slap in the face. I was back. I had been reborn. Brenda yanked the bathroom door open. There was Tyler, pants around his ankles, mooning the world with his scrawny, pale butt. Quit whining. Give me that enema. Daisy. You're 20-something years old. And you move slower than a turtle in molasses. Brenda snapped at me, snatching the bottle. She spanked Tyler's ass. Turn around. Tyler pivoted, presenting his cheeks to me. I knew the enema wouldn't do jack shit. The kid hadn't taken a dump in a month. His face was yellow and waxy like old cheese. Back when this started, I told the little glutton to eat some fiber. Apples, broccoli. Anything green. Brenda shut me down instantly. My Tyler is a growing boy. Men need meat. Don't listen to your Aunt Daisy. It's not constipation. It's just that his body absorbs everything because he's so perfect. So Tyler kept stuffing his face with burgers and fried chicken. Until he looked 6 months pregnant. That's when Brenda went to the fish tank and scooped out the swamp eels. If eels can unclog a sewer pipe in the bayou, they can unclog my son's asshole. Last time I saved him, I paid for the surgery out of my own pocket. And in return, they killed me. Brenda blamed me for the cost that the eels would have been free. And Tyler fed me rat poison. Not this time. I'm done playing captain. Save a hoe. You can't fix stupid. Especially when stupid wants to kill you. Brenda fished out a slimy black patterned eel and walked toward Tyler. She nodded at me to grab hold of the kid. Tyler, baby. This time Mama's gonna fix you right up. Tyler looked back, eyeing the wriggling creature in Brenda's grip. Mama, I'm scared. Is it gonna bite my butt? Brenda shook her head, her greasy bangs falling in her eyes. Don't be a pussy, son. Eels don't bite. I picked a skinny one. Hospitals are a rip-off. This is nature's way. My hands came together in a slow, loud clap, clap, clap. Wow, Brenda. You really know how to pinch a penny. I never would have thought of that. Brenda rolled her eyes but looked pleased. Your nephew is dying here and you're clapping. Get over here and hold him down. Wait, Brenda. Shoving it in dry seems risky. Don't you think? I said, feigning concern. She glared at me thinking I was going to stop her. Again, I spoke faster. The kid's pipes are dry as a bone. You just jamming it in, it won't slide. Why don't we pour some Dawn dish soap on it? Make it slick. That eel will glide right in like a water slide. Brenda's eyes lit up. Daisy. For once in your life, you're using your brain. She grabbed the bottle of dish soap and squeezed a massive glob right onto Tyler's asshole. She added a splash of water and started scrubbing it around, making his crack foam up like a rabid dog. Then she lathered up the eel. The poor creature started to shing wildly from the chemicals. Example of perfect timing. Brenda lined it up with the bullseye and shoved. It went in disturbingly smooth. See? Perfect one. Once the eel clears the blockage, it'll swim right back out. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing maniacally. Tyler, honey. How's it feel? Tyler stood up, shaking his head. I don't feel nothing, Brenda frowned. Maybe one isn't enough horsepower. I nodded like a bobblehead. Brenda. Logic says two makes a team. She grabbed a second eel from the tank and rammed it up there. Tyler's ass was apparently a clown car. Middle of the night. I was half asleep when I heard creaking. Tyler pushed my bedroom door open. Aunt Daisy, it hurts bad. My butt is burning. I flicked on the bedside lamp. Tyler was draped over the side of my bed. Looking like death warmed over. Pathetic. But honestly. Fuck him, I yawned. Stretching my arms. That just means the magic is happening, kiddo. The eels are working overtime. But auntie, I really. I spun him around before he could finish. Go to sleep. Don't ruin the magic. Tyler collapsed onto my rug. He clutched his ass with one hand. And grabbed my pajama leg with the other. Aunt Daisy, if you don't take me to the I'll. You'll what? Put rat poison in my lasagna again, sneered. Grabbed him by the collar and hauled him up. Fine, you wanna go? Let's go. Tyler mustered a weak smile. Thanks, auntie. You're the best. I marched him straight into Brenda's room and tossed him onto her bed. Like a sack of potatoes. Brenda woke up screaming. What the hell? It's 3:00 am. I threw my hands up. Don't look at me, Brenda. Your son was begging me to take him to the hospital behind your back. Brenda turned her death stare onto Tyler. Tyler, you don't trust your own mother. You went crying to her. I raised you all by myself. Ungrateful brat. I'm heartbroken. Brenda buried her face in her hands and started fake crying. Loud, ugly sobbing. Tyler panicked. No, Mama. No, I lied to Aunt Daisy. I'm fine. My butt feels great. Your trick worked super good. Brenda instantly stopped crying. Face completely dry, and hugged him. That's my brave boy, I smirked. Oh, my bad, Tyler. You little prankster. You almost had me fooled. Brenda kissed his sweaty forehead. He's got a gift, Daisy. He's a natural actor. You know what? I'm taking him to that casting call tomorrow. He needs to satisfy his creative soul. Tyler nodded frantically. Perfect. I couldn't wait for him to shit his pants on set. The next day, Brenda dragged me along as the assistant. I'm only letting you come because Tyler likes you. Brenda sniffed. When he gets famous in Hollywood, you can carry his bags. At the audition, Tyler walked like a cowboy who'd been riding bareback for a week. Director Miller, this is my Tyler. Brenda announced, shoving the kid forward. He's the next Macaulay Culkin. Director Miller frowned behind his sunglasses. What's wrong with his legs? Tyler looked down, gripping his pants so tight his knuckles were white. Brenda grabbed Tyler's shoulder. Oh, nothing. Just a little heat rash on his tushy. I put some cream on it. He's just shy. Miller shrugged. Whatever. Get him to wardrobe. He looks a bit jaundiced. But that works. We need a sickly-looking kid for this part. Tyler bit his lip until it bled. I smiled. It must feel like a rave party inside his rectum right now. In the dressing room, the makeup artist handed Tyler a raggedy peasant costume. Brenda flipped out. Excuse me. You giving my son trash to wear? She threw the costume on the floor. I know what this is. You're bullying him because we're new. I'm a single mother, you bitch. Don't test me. The makeup girl put her hands on her hips. Lady, it's the character's costume. He plays a poor kid. Take it or leave it. I got 50 kids in line. Don't lie to me. The director loves my son. Brenda grabbed the girl's arm. We're going to the director. Tyler tugged my shirt. I looked down. He was sweating bullets. His face purple. Aunt Daisy, I gotta poop. Holy crap. Maybe the eels actually worked. Or maybe they were just trying to escape. Go for it, champ. I waited outside the stall. Nothing. Brenda finished yelling at the crew and got him a better costume, which looked exactly the same. Tyler, move your ass. Lights, camera. Action, Brenda hollered. Tyler stumbled out. Mama. My legs are numb. And Brenda scooped him up. Nerves, you'll be fine. The scene was a period piece. Tyler played a fisherman's son getting kidnapped by bandits. Simple stuff. Kidnapped. Tie him up, throw him on a horse. Heroes save him. Because they were testing screen chemistry. The director was live streaming the rehearsal on TikTok to build hype. Brenda stood by the camera squawking. That's my son on the horse. Get his good side. The director is obsessed with him. The actor playing the bandit slapped Tyler's ass to pretend to secure him. Quiet, kid. Tyler screamed a blood-curdling screech. But Miller yelled clapping. Fantastic emotion. That scream was visceral. Again, Brenda beamed. See, try getting that from a Nepo baby. I knew better. That wasn't acting. That was the eels biting back. The actor playing the bandit, a burly guy with a fake scar and a very real look of confusion, raised his hand for a second take. Director, the kid is vibrating, he called out. Like, literally humming. Is he supposed to be this, moist? Director Miller didn't look up from his monitor. It's internal conflict, Greg. He's a captive. He's terrified. Just slap the horse's flank and let's get the wide shot. Brenda was vibrating too, but with pride. She leaned over to me, her breath smelling like stale coffee and ambition. See that? He's a natural. He's got that disturbed look down pat. Those eels are probably just tickling his funny bone. I leaned back, crossing my arms. Oh, I think they're doing a lot more than tickling, Brenda. They're pioneers. Exploring the final frontier. Quiet, Brenda hissed. Action. The bandit actor gave the horse a sharp slap. The horse jolted. Tyler, tied across the saddle like a sack of grain, let out a sound that didn't belong in a human throat. It was a high-pitched, wet whistle, followed by a sound like a pressurized steam valve failing. Then, the world slowed down. The clog didn't just break, it detonated. Imagine a fire hose connected to a swamp. A month's worth of burgers, fried chicken, and grease, lubricated by a generous helping of Dawn dish soap and agitated by two very angry, very suffocating eels, had reached critical mass. The first thing to go was the peasant costume. The back of the trousers didn't rip, they disintegrated under the sheer force of the hydraulic pressure. A geyser of dark, foamy sludge erupted with the force of a volcanic event. It hit the bandit actor square in the chest, coating his fake scar in very real biohazard. But the eels, bless their slimy hearts, were the stars of the show. Propelled by the explosion, the first eel shot out like a wet missile. It flew through the air, spinning end over end, a shimmering ribbon of black slime and blue soap suds, before slapping directly onto Director Miller's expensive sunglasses. It stuck there for a second, wriggling, before sliding down his face. The second eel was less fortunate. It took a high trajectory, arching over the camera crew and landing with a wet thud inside a giant bowl of organic kale salad at the craft services table. The smell hit a second later. It was a physical wall. It smelled like a sewer had died and been buried inside a larger, older sewer. Cut! God almighty, cut! Miller screamed, tearing his glasses off and stumbling backward into a light stand. The live stream, which had been humming along with a few thousand viewers, suddenly exploded. The comments were a blur. Is that a fish? Did that kid just bazooka a snake? Hashtag eelboy is trending. Tyler was slumped over the horse, gray-faced and leaking. Brenda, however, didn't miss a beat. She didn't run to see if her son was alive. She ran toward the director. Did you get that? She shrieked. That was the most visceral performance I've ever seen. The commitment. The special effects. Daisy, tell them. We brought our own organic props. I walked over to the craft services table, picked up a clean napkin, and wiped a stray drop of sludge off my sleeve. Brenda, I said loudly, making sure the boom mic picked it up, I think your nature's cure just committed a felony. The set was quarantined. The bandit actor was throwing up behind a trailer. The makeup girl was having a literal nervous breakdown, and the horse looked like it needed a therapist. Tyler was lying on a gurney, finally conscious but looking like a deflated balloon. The paramedics were looking at him with a mix of horror and professional curiosity. Ma'am, one of the EMTs said, holding a plastic bag containing the first eel, which was still feebly twitching. Can you explain why there is a Monopterus albus, a swamp eel, covered in dish soap, that apparently originated from your son's rectum? Brenda drew herself up, her face a mask of indignant motherhood. It's an ancient bayou remedy. It clears the toxins. My son was suffering from a blockage, and I provided a holistic solution. If you people weren't so brainwashed by Big Pharma, you'd recognize genius when you see it. The EMT looked at me. I just shrugged. I told her to use the soap, I said helpfully. Otherwise, it would have been friction burned. I was just trying to be a supportive aunt. You're all insane, the EMT muttered. We're taking him in. This kid has internal lacerations, a possible systemic infection, and, well, he's definitely not constipated anymore. I'm not paying for a hospital. Brenda yelled, following them toward the ambulance. He's fine. He's purged. Tyler, tell them you're fine. Tyler just groaned, a long, hollow sound. Mama, my butt, it feels like a volcano lived in there and then moved out, with all the furniture. In my last life, this was where I would have stepped in. I would have pulled out my credit card, paid the $20,000 deposit for the emergency surgery, and spent 3 weeks sleeping in a plastic chair by his bed, only for them to poison me later. This time. I checked my watch. Brenda, the director is talking to the police, I called out. Something about biological terrorism and cruelty to animals. You might want to go handle that. I'll stay here and, watch the bags. Brenda froze. The word police always triggered her flight response. She looked at Tyler, then at the director, who was indeed pointing at her while talking to a man in a tan uniform. Daisy, you take him. Brenda hissed, shoving her purse into my hands. Take him to the hospital. Sign the papers as his guardian. Tell them I'm getting his headshots ready for the news. This is a PR goldmine. She bolted toward the parking lot before I could say a word. I looked at Tyler on the gurney. He looked at me, his eyes watery and pathetic. Auntie Daisy. You'll pay for me, right? You always save us. I leaned down, whispering so only he could hear. Tyler, honey. Do you remember what you did to me in the other world? The rat poison and the lasagna. The way you laughed while I was choking on my own tongue. Tyler blinked, confused. What? Auntie, I'm only 10. I don't know what you're. Oh, right. You haven't done it yet, I smiled, a cold, sharp thing. But the heart of a killer starts small. And right now, your heart is fine. It's your bank account that's about to die. I turned to the EMT. His mother ran away. I'm just a distant relative with no power of attorney and zero interest in debt. If you need to treat him, you'll have to process him as an abandoned minor under the state's Emergency Care Act. I believe that involves a lot of paperwork and a very long stay in a state ward. Tyler's eyes went wide. Wait. No. Auntie. I waved a cheerful goodbye as they loaded him into the back. Don't worry, Tyler. It's nature's way. By that evening, the Eel Boy video had 40 million views. It was the top story on every weird news site in the world. Brenda, true to her nature, hadn't gone to the hospital. She had checked into a cheap motel and was currently doing a live stream on her own social media, trying to monetize the disaster. My son is a hero, she told the camera, her eyes wide and manic. He sacrificed his dignity to show the world the truth about swamp-based healing. We are looking for sponsors. Dawn Dish Soap, call me. We've proven your product is safe for internal mucosal membranes. I sat in my apartment, sipping a glass of wine, the expensive kind I could finally afford because I wasn't spending my savings on Tyler's medical bills. The doorbell rang. I knew it was Brenda. She had a specific way of pounding on doors, like she was trying to punch the woods manager. I opened it. She looked like a wreck. Her hair was matted, and she was wearing a stolen crew jacket from the movie set. Daisy. You bitch. Why aren't you answering your phone? She pushed past me. The hospital is calling me. They say Tyler needs a reconstructive sphincter surgery and it costs 50 grand. 50 grand. For a butt. He's got 2 cheeks, why does he need a whole new hole? Evolution is expensive, Brenda, I said, leaning against the kitchen counter. You have to pay for it, she demanded, pointing a finger at me. You're his aunt. You're the one who said to use the soap. If you hadn't suggested the soap, the eels wouldn't have come out so fast, and the director wouldn't have sued me for the catering bill. I laughed. It was a genuine, hearty laugh. Brenda, I didn't tell you to put eels in your son. I just gave you a tip on how to make your own insanity more efficient. That's on you. Brenda's face twisted. The mask of the proud mother fell away, revealing the jagged, ugly thing underneath. You think you're so smart. You've always looked down on me. But Tyler. Tyler knows. He's my soldier. Once he's out of that hospital, we're coming for you. I'll tell the cops you forced us to do it. I'll tell them you've been abusing him for years. Hard to do that when the whole world saw you on TikTok screaming about nature's way while your son was being used as a biological mortar, I pointed out. Brenda lunged at me, but I stepped aside. She crashed into the kitchen table. Get out, Brenda, I said, my voice dropping to a low, dangerous hum. Go find a lawyer. Or better yet, go find more eels. I hear they're great for stress. 3 weeks passed. Tyler was released from the hospital into Brenda's custody, a mistake on the part of the social workers that I fully intended to rectify, but only after the finale. The state was suing Brenda for medical neglect, the movie studio was suing her for damages, and the Eel Boy fame had turned into Eel Boy infamy. They were desperate. And desperate people always go back to their favorite hits. I invited them over for dinner. Peace offering, I told Brenda over the phone. I feel bad about how things went. I made your favorite, beef lasagna. Extra cheese. No fiber, just the way Tyler likes it. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Fine. We'll be there at 6. I spent the afternoon preparing. I bought 2 identical lasagnas. One was perfectly normal. The other was for the guests. I saw them through the peephole. Tyler was walking better now, though he had a certain stiffness to his gait. Brenda was carrying a small Tupperware container. My heart skipped a beat. In the last life, that was where she kept the special seasoning. Come in. I said, acting the part of the doting, regretful aunt. Tyler, you look like you've been through a lot. Have some lasagna. We sat at the table. I placed the steaming dish in the center. I'll serve, Brenda said quickly, grabbing the spatula. You've done enough, Daisy. Why don't you go get us some of those fancy sodas you have in the fridge? I smiled. Of course. I went to the kitchen and waited. I watched them through the reflection in the glass of a picture frame in the hallway. Brenda pulled a small packet of greenish-gray powder from her pocket, rat poison, the old-school kind that causes internal hemorrhaging and foaming at the mouth. She sprinkled it liberally over one specific corner of the lasagna. She then scooped that poison piece onto a plate and set it at my spot. She gave Tyler a large, clean piece, and herself another. All set, she called out. I walked back in, 2 sodas in hand. I sat down in front of the toxic mountain of pasta. You know, I said, picking up my fork. This reminds me of a dream I had. A dream where I died because I trusted my family. Isn't that funny? Brenda's hand shook slightly. You have weird dreams, Daisy. Eat. It's getting cold. Tyler was shoveling his food in, eyes downcast. He knew. He was a participant this time, just like before. He wanted me dead so they could inherit my house and my savings to pay off their deal debts. Wait, I said, suddenly standing up. I forgot the garlic bread. It's in the oven. I rushed to the kitchen. Oh, damn it. Brenda, help me. The oven mitt is stuck in the rack. For God's sake, Daisy. Brenda stood up, huffing, and ran into the kitchen to help. The moment her back was turned, I didn't go for the oven. I ran to the table. I swapped my plate with Tyler's. Then, I swapped Brenda's plate with a third, pre-poisoned plate I had hidden under the table in a storage bin. By the time Brenda untangled the perfectly fine oven mitt, I was back at the table, sitting in my original spot, looking innocent. False alarm. I chirped. Let's eat. Brenda sat down, a smirk playing on her lips. She took a huge bite of her lasagna. Tyler did the same. I watched them. I didn't eat. I just poked at my noodles. Daisy, why aren't you eating? Brenda asked, her voice sounding a bit thick. I'm just enjoying the company, I said. Tell me, Tyler, does it taste metallic? A bit like zinc. Tyler froze. He looked at his plate, then at me. His face went from yellow to a sickly white. Mama, this piece has the green stuff on it. Brenda looked at her own plate. She looked at mine. She realized the plates had been moved, but she couldn't figure out how or when. You. Brenda gasped. She tried to stand up, but her legs buckled. The poison was fast-acting. She'd used enough to kill a horse, let alone a woman of her size. She started to cough. A thin, pinkish foam began to bubble at the corners of her mouth. Auntie, help. Tyler whimpered. He fell off his chair, clutching his stomach. The irony was poetic. He'd survived the eels only to be taken down by his own mother's murderous greed. I leaned over the table, my face inches from Brenda's. She was clawing at her throat, her eyes bulging. In my last life, I died foaming at the mouth just like that, I whispered. It's not a good way to go. It burns, doesn't it? Like 1,000 eels biting you from the inside out. Brenda tried to scream, but only a wet, gurgling sound came out. Don't worry, I said, picking up my phone. I've already called the police. I told them you were depressed and tried to commit a murder-suicide because of the eel boy scandal. I even wrote a lovely suicide note in your handwriting. I've been practicing for weeks. I stood up and walked to the door. I looked back one last time. Tyler was twitching on the rug. Brenda was slumped over the table, her face buried in the very lasagna she had poisoned. I stepped out into the cool night air, breathing in the scent of rain and freedom. Nature's way, Brenda, I whispered to the wind. Nature's way. The news called it a tragedy. The eel mom's final stand. The investigation was short. They found the rat poison in the Tupperware, Brenda's fingerprints all over the packet, and a suicide note that detailed her guilt over Tyler's holistic treatment and her inability to pay the mounting legal fees. The fact that Tyler survived was the only miracle. He survived because I had only put a fraction of the poison on the plate I swapped to him, just enough to cause permanent, agonizing stomach sensitivity and a lifelong fear of Italian food, but not enough to kill. I visited him in the state-run infirmary a month later. He was thin, his hair falling out in patches, strapped to a bed because he kept trying to claw at his own skin. Auntie Daisy, he croaked, his voice a ghost of its former bratty self. Please. Get me out. It hurts. I sat down next to him and opened a container of applesauce. Eat your fiber, Tyler, I said, holding out a spoonful. You know what happens when you get backed up. He looked at the applesauce, then at me. In his eyes, I saw the flicker of realization. He knew. He knew I knew. And he knew that for the rest of his miserable, state ward life, I would be the one checking in on him. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the warden. I fed him a spoonful of mush. Good boy, I whispered. Now, let's talk about those eels one more time. He started to scream, but the nurses just ignored it. They were used to the eel boy's tantrums. I walked out of the hospital, the sun shining bright on my face. I had a movie to catch, a new period piece. I heard they replaced the lead child actor. Life was good. Rebirth, it turns out, is the ultimate nature's cure.